Hello, fellow Dolly Enthusiast. First off, it's raining right now, so if you can hear that, I apologize, but it's kind of nice background sound. So in this video, I just want to do something simple and have maybe what you might call an analysis or a retrospect on some mods I did for my guys over here, Ryan and Byron. I don't have any video. This is long ago before I even thought about doing that. You know, give you a little backstory on what I did, how I did it, and things I wish I would have known when I first did it to have a better outcome. So with that being said, I hope you enjoy. So first up, getting my guy out of a straitjacket. It's part of his backstory that neither of these guys had when I first acquired them, but their characters were directly influenced by the mods I did on them. So by modding them, I came up with character development that I usually don't partake in, but now enjoy adding to. And this is Ryan. He's a DoD doll that started as an event head from the company as a gift for my purchase of a gaming doll. After a considerable amount of time, I went onto the Den of Angels marketplace to get him a body. Like a mad scientist might say, looking for organs on the black market. I wanted to do something special with him since he was kind of a discounted bonus doll. At first I thought about doing a stigmata wound on his hands, but decided to go bigger with something much more visible. But I still wanted a stigmata afflicted doll, even to now. In the beginning, I researched all the mod techniques available for my skill level. Epoxies, glues, dremeling, additive, subtractive. I looked at them all. I finally decided to do one that was reversible and easy to do. I went with just using glue. I didn't want to use anything permanent just in case I screwed up and be very unhappy with messing up a perfectly fine doll. Ryan, let the nice people look at your butt. It's for research. The reasoning behind him being mostly covered with scars on one side is that it was just easy to keep track of the body parts. I'm just that lazy and didn't want to make a pattern just to find out I did it on opposing arms. You may have noticed the coloring between his scars vary, and that was not planned. I first used a reddish brown and put my materials away, only to come back wanting to add more damage. I unfortunately used a brownish red, which left his hand, face, and feet looking more bloody than I anticipated. I messed up. If you're interested in trying to mod a doll, mind your colors. Even a little difference can show up. But I just incorporated this mistake into his character by saying those areas were just more damaged by the fire he went through. Whenever I show people who don't know anything about bjds, I just say the doll itself got burned and it just looks like that. Kinda freaked him out a little bit. Okay, here's a few photos of the process I went through. To begin, the clean doll parts. I sealed them to give the surface some tooth, and then began building layers of color using pastels, then sealed that before laying down rows of glue in specific patterns to get the look of tendons or gouges caused by the predicament he went through. Repeating those steps until I got the raised look and color. I wanted the pastels to be inside the glue to give the resin a luminescent look like its skin. As for closing the eyes up, again, it's several thin layers of glue stacked on top of each other, using a safety pin, and patience. The easiest part was the overall texture. I just dabbed a Q-tip all over the surface to get the uneven look. I'm just careful not to mess up certain structures like those circular gouges. I personally think this kind of mod is probably the easiest and safest to do, even compared to a regular face-up. It didn't require too much skill other than following glue lines and not overdoing the pastels. There are amazing artists out there that create amazing mods with epoxy, dremels, using clean cuts and precise markings that I wouldn't attempt. This technique is safe, removable, and along my skill level while still making a big impression. I hope you enjoy this overview of Ryan. I love making his mods and a bit disappointed there aren't more out there. But the work that the few owners that do is fantastic and have great skills in their art. I understand that these dolls are expensive and many are very pretty, and we don't want to screw them up. And speaking of which, Byron. This is the kind of mod you do not easily recover from if you're a doll. I'm sure you guessed, but if you didn't, he is loosely influenced by the Everett character from The Vampire's Assistant. He looked cool and I just wanted a snake guy, and this was my attempt at that. Getting to this state took a lot of mistakes, learning different techniques and investing in equipment. But this was a great learning experience. So let's kind of strip him down a little bit to get a better look at him. I first attempted to color him green using synthetic dye. He looked like Nightcrawler. It was a dark bluish green, not at all the color I was aiming for. But the job was done and I'm too lazy to go back, so I just continued on as planned. Unfortunately, that was a mess as well. After sealing him, I tried to apply yellow pastels and that nearly disappeared into the dark color of his skin. I applied so many layers attempting to salvage the situation that he had a dirty, filmy look rather than the green, yellow that I had imagined. After being left disappointed with the dyeing method, I decided to take the financial hit and try airbrushing. This is when the project got much more fun and interesting. After more research, learning about everything I needed and how to use it, I was able to successfully and much more quickly get this wonderful bright green color on him. As a bonus, I threw on scales. Previously, if I wanted to do this, I would have to paint them on with acrylic paint individually, and that was just something I wasn't too interested in doing. But with the new tool, I just slapped him in some fishnet hose like a bad Halloween costume and started hitting him in specific places to give him that little bit more detail. And if you're curious, yes, I scaled his butt. I thought it was pretty cute. I love the accent of all those little black freckles. Here's a nice comparison shot of what Ryan was originally dyed to and how he is now. It's actually a pretty color, but it's not the color I was looking to get. Lazily, I didn't airbrush the inside, but it makes a good example of how much difference using the airbrush made for him. I was very happy with the results, but very quickly I realized I had to protect the joints on him due to wear marks that were appearing. The simplest solution I could figure was just to glue down some felt into the wells so the ball joints could more easily glide. Had I did the research or maybe just thought about it, I would have liked to have sanded the joints to make more room to accommodate for the extra padding. Had I sanded out the wells, maybe the ball joints would sit better, but it still works very well. Now this was a bit of dumb luck. Had I just airbrushed him without dyeing him first, I would have been very upset. Damage like that would have been painfully obvious since he had white skin. I'm thankful everything happened the way it did since the dye job at least camouflages all the scuffing and damage to the moving areas. With Byron, that terrible dye job was a blessing in disguise. Here you can plainly see the main colors I used for Byron. 4. A deep green, a light green, yellow, and a burnt red. Using a heavy or light application when airbrushing, adjusting for how intense I wanted it. Again, the scales were a fun accessory, but I didn't fully cover him in it because I thought it would lead to more mistakes being made. Less scales, but more artistically placed for a pleasing accent. Just like all the little black spots he has over his body. I even took the liberty to put it in certain areas and define his V shape on the... Sorry. Hope you enjoyed learning what it took to create these guys and the thinking behind their mods. I wish I knew some of these tips and observations in the beginning, but if you're interested in doing something like this, maybe it could help you at least. Take care until next time, and thank you for watching. Wait, I forgot to tell you how I airbrushed my raccoon doll and